Hey everyone. Welcome to AfriHeart Stories, your go-to spot for African tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a comment. Now sit back and enjoy. Samuel, Grandpa Adebayo steeled himself as the silver dawn light filtered through dusty blinds. His lean frame, wrapped in a faded cotton shirt and patched khaki trousers, moved with the careful precision of a man used to measuring dignity in steps. He slung a worn leather satchel over his shoulder. Inside an icebox, blue Tupperware container, still half full of yesterday's akara and pap. Since retiring, he depended on the kindness of bakers and bistros to donate unsold meals to his local elders' community center. Today, however, he felt a tremor of shame. The upscale bistro he was visiting was notorious for haughtiness. He paused before the entrance, marble floors gleaming, foyer walls hung with modern art. The hostess, a young woman in crisp uniform, lifted a lorgnette of disdain at his rumpled clothes. "Good morning, ma'am," he said, voice steady though his chest tightened. "I've come to collect donations for the seniors' table." She pursed her lips. "This is a private establishment." Her eyes flicked to the Tupperware. "You must have the wrong address." He opened the container slowly. "I have your permission slip," he replied, sliding a small handwritten note from the community center. She flicked it aside. "Not good enough. Please leave." As he retreated, servers giggled behind her back. A manager rounded the corner, arms crossed, barking, "We don't feed beggars here." The word stung. He clutched the container to his chest, throat dry. Without a word, he turned and walked out into the alley, the laughter chasing him like crows. Rain, dark and bricks offered no comfort. He dropped to a cracked curb and let his head fall into his hands. Memories rose, planting yams with his father on their farm in Oyo State, learning that toil forged character. In his satchel, a tattered notebook held his late father's verses on resilience. He thumbed to a poem. "When pride is bruised by scornful eyes, stand firm. The soul's light never dies." His fingertips traced the lines as breath steadied. Somewhere beyond shame, a flame flickered. He would not vanish into silence. Rising, he pressed a hand to the brick wall and whispered, "This scrap is but the spark." A distant rumble of traffic greeted him. Maria, the trash collector he passed daily, paused. "Grandpa, you okay?" she asked gently. He managed a small smile. "Better than okay," he said. "I'm just getting started." As he trudged home, Tupperware clutched like a talisman, he vowed silently. Tomorrow he'd speak for every elder forced into shadows, and turn their whispers into a roar. Back in his tiny living room, Samuel unpacked groceries Temilola, his 21-year-old granddaughter, had delivered. Temi bounded in, phone in hand. "Grandpa, the video's ready." He paused, Tupperware still closed. Temi's brow furrowed. "You didn't collect?" He sighed. "They laughed. Told me to go away." Her eyes flashed. "Good. This isn't just about scraps, it's about respect." She tapped her phone, cued the draft post. "Help me film your story, old man. Not pity, power." He hesitated. The world beyond his apartment felt intrusive. But in her eyes he saw possibility. "All right," he said softly. They arranged a single bare bulb atop a tripod. Temi adjusted focus until his lined face filled the frame. "Meet my grandfather, Samuel Adebayo," she began. "A man who spent 50 years serving this country now collects leftovers for dignity." She handed him the mic. He inhaled. "Yesterday, I walked into La Belle Bistro to collect unsold meals for seniors. I was met with sneers and told to leave. They called me a burden. But I stand here not for pity but to say, our elders deserve respect." His voice wavered only once, then regained strength. "Dignity isn't given by fancy establishments, it's ours by birthright." He paused. "If you've ever felt unseen, stand with me. Let our voices remind the world that age is strength and service is honor." Temi cut the recording. He turned to her. "Is it okay?" She hugged him. "Better than okay, legendary." That night they crafted captions and posted. As the screen glowed, Samuel nodded, chest buoyed. Tomorrow he'd watch that spark ignite. By sunrise, Temi's phone buzzed with notifications. Samuel squinted at the screen, hundreds of shares, thousands of comments flooding in. Hearts, claps, outrage. A local news outlet had embedded their video. #respect for senior trended in Nigerian Twitter. He watched as people championed his cause, but also as critics whispered, "Attention seeker." He frowned. "Temi, some think I'm exploiting myself." She straightened. "Then let's clarify. Let's show them you're not alone." Together they recorded a follow-up. Elders from his neighborhood, a retired teacher, a seamstress, a former market chief, each recounting their own dismissals. "They think we're invisible," said Mama Nkechi, voice quivering. "But age taught me to speak truth." The montage punctured skepticism. Views soared. An independent documentary crew reached out. Even La Belle Bistro's manager granted a terse interview, claiming concerns over food safety. Samuel studied the reply. "Then let's talk safety," he said. "Tomorrow I'll prove it." Temi nodded. "Your move." Under the dim streetlight, he felt a tremor of fear. Yet beneath it, the ember of purpose blazed hotter than ever. Morning found Samuel at a nearby food warehouse, clipboard in hand. Staff watched warily as he sampled packaged meals set to expire in 2 days. He inspected labels, noted temperatures, and smiled. "These are safe for redistribution," he declared. That afternoon, Temi posted his findings alongside excerpts of the bistro manager's statement. "Transparency before charity," she captioned. Comments erupted, support flooded in. Meanwhile, Samuel drafted an online petition calling on all restaurants to donate unsold meals under proper guidelines. Within hours, 50,000 signatures appeared. A local NGO pledged to deliver meals once petition targets hit 100,000. At dusk, Temi hosted a live Q&A. Samuel fielded questions. What about liability? How will distribution work? He answered calmly, sharing data from the warehouse visit. Viewers hung on every word. As the stream ended, Samuel exhaled. He felt older knees tremble, but his heart felt younger than ever. The next morning, headlines blared, "Elderly activist or attention hound?" Sponsored ads from a restaurant lobby group warned of food hygiene risks. A smear article questioned Samuel's motives. Was he chasing fame? In his living room, Samuel read words he never imagined written about him. Temi appeared beside him. "Don't let them gaslight you," she said softly. He closed his eyes. "My cause is bigger than me." He recorded a swift video. "I am a simple man who asks only that my peers be treated with dignity. If your concern is safety, join me in creating guidelines. But don't dismiss elders because you fear change." He posted. Within minutes, supporters shared guidelines they drafted, legal experts, chefs, community volunteers. The narrative shifted. Safety and respect could walk hand in hand. That evening, as street lamps flickered outside, Samuel sat with his notebook, pen in hand. He began writing a letter to restaurant associations, firm yet respectful. Tomorrow he'd deliver it in person. He closed his eyes and whispered, "For every elder who's ever been turned away, I stand here as witness." And somewhere in Lagos, a movement deepened its roots. Samuel rose before dawn, muscles aching from his studio session with Temi the night before. Today was the first coordinated delivery. 200 hot meals gathered from willing eateries, loaded into insulated boxes by the NGO's volunteers. Clutching his notebook and clipboard, he descended the narrow staircase of his apartment building into the humid Lagos morning. Outside, a fleet of battered SUVs idled. Temi handed him a steaming cup of coffee. "Ready?" she asked, eyes bright. He nodded. "Let's bring respect to their doorsteps." Their first stop was Mrs. Atkins Community Center, a modest concrete block with peeling paint and folding chairs. Elders clustered on the porch, worn faces lighting up at the convoy. Samuel stepped forward. "Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Today we share more than meals, we share dignity." A hush fell. He raised his voice, "Let us eat with heads held high." Volunteers opened boxes, revealing steaming rice, stews, vegetable sides. An elderly tailor, Mr. Duro, dabbed his eyes. "I haven't tasted jollof like this in years," he whispered. As plates passed hands to mouths, cameras rolled. Temi guided an impromptu interview. "How does this feel?" she asked Mrs. Akin, whose arthritic hands trembled as she accepted her plate. "Like someone finally sees me," she replied. But halfway through, tension flared. 2 cooks from a partnering eatery arrived, hands empty and expressions tight. "We've hit a snag," one said. "Our supplier shorted us. No protein today." Shock rippled among the elders. Samuel clenched his jaw. He took a deep breath. "Let's improvise." He called volunteers forward. "Who can spare extra servings?" Hands rose. A young student offered leftover akara. A church group delivered boiled eggs. Piece by piece, plates were replenished. When the last elder was fed, Samuel invited everyone to stand. This is proof. When community leads, no one is left behind. Cameras zoomed in on applauding hands. Later, packing up empty containers, Samuel noticed the cooks lingering. They approached him nervously. We underestimated the logistics. Forgive us. Their apology was sincere. He nodded. Let today remind us that respect demands preparation, but heart fills the gaps. As sunset painted the sky, Samuel and Temi collapsed on a stoop, surveying the quieted center. We did it, Temi murmured. He smiled, exhaustion and pride warring in his chest. Yes. But tomorrow we must do it bigger and better. A distant horn blew. In that echo, Samuel sensed both promise and challenge. The movement had grown beyond his simple plea, and the real test was only beginning. News crews clamored outside Samuel's building at dawn. Microphones branded with station logos thrust through open windows. He adjusted his Kalabari shirt as Temi ushered him to a makeshift interview zone beneath a mango tree. The first reporter, a familiar TV anchor, greeted him warmly. Samuel, your story has ignited hearts across Nigeria. How does it feel to be at the center of this storm? Samuel cleared his throat. I'm no celebrity. I'm just a man who loves his country, and its elders. His calm sincerity shifted the anchor's posture from spectacle to respect. Next came a gruff radio host. Some say you're playing politics. Are you being used? Samuel met the question head-on. If politicians use my voice to help seniors, I'm grateful. But I won't be anyone's pawn. Behind the cameras, Temi monitored live tweets. #respect for senior is trending worldwide, she whispered. He nodded, scanning headlines on a reporter's phone. Elderly hero or media puppet? Lagos legend, real or ruse? The final segment was a live debate on a popular morning show. Samuel joined policy experts and a restaurant owner skeptical of meal redistribution. The owner argued, we can't risk liability for charity. Samuel leaned forward, voice steady. Liability is solved by guidelines and care, not by ignoring the needs of those who built this nation. Clips of smiling elders, empty plates, and the petition's signature count flashed on screen. Viewers saw not just conflict but solutions. Afterward, the host turned to Samuel. You may have just changed the narrative on social responsibility in Nigeria. Exiting the studio, Samuel was greeted by a small crowd of supporters, waving printed flyers of the live debate. A tearful grandmother pressed his hand. You gave me hope, she said. Temi guided him away. Ready for the next level? She asked. He exhaled. Yes. But we must ensure this attention translates to real policy. At home, footage of the day replayed on his laptop. As he watched himself field tough questions, he realized, the media spotlight was both gift and gauntlet. And tomorrow they'd need to use this glare to forge change, before it dimmed again. In Aba, a bustling market town 3 hours east, Mrs. Ojo awaited Samuel's arrival. She'd seen his videos and organized her own food-sharing circle. When Samuel stepped onto the dusty slip road, villagers greeted him with cheers. He hugged Mrs. Ojo, a resilient woman in a bright Ankara dress. Thank you for carrying the torch, he said. Together they toured makeshift distribution points, under mango trees inside open-air stalls, and at a youth center where volunteers stacked plastic bowls. Samuel sat with a group of market women sharing bread and stew. They spoke candidly, fears of stigma, gratitude for solidarity, ideas for sustaining the program after the cameras left. One young teacher, Chinedu, explained how he'd incorporated Samuel's story into his lesson plans on civic engagement. My students now interview their grandparents, he beamed. Samuel felt a glow. His movement was seeping into lives beyond meal boxes. That evening, under strings of bare bulbs, Samuel and Temi hosted a community forum. Dozens lined up to speak. A retired nurse with arthritis, a former comptroller who lost pension funds, a disabled veteran. Each recounted small humiliations and urged policies that honored elders' needs. Temi recorded every word. When the last speaker finished, Samuel addressed the crowd. Your voices are the blueprint. Together we'll build policies that see our elders not as shadows but as pillars. Applause rolled like thunder. Before leaving at dawn, Samuel and Temi sat on the bus bench. This feels different, Samuel said. It's more than Lagos now. Temi nodded, scrolling through messages. Similar groups forming in Port Harcourt, Kaduna, Jos. He closed his eyes. The movement had grown roots in communities, bonded by shared respect. But deepening roots meant tougher storms ahead. And as the bus rumbled away, Samuel braced for the next challenge, uniting these diverse voices into a single national push. In Abuja's imposing corridors of power, Samuel sat in a sunlit conference room alongside government officials and restaurateur representatives. At the head of the table sat the Minister of Social Welfare, flanked by civil servants in starched suits. "Mr. Adebayo," the minister began, "your grassroots success is commendable, but we require a formal framework before national rollout." A policy advisor passed around draft legislation titled Senior Food Security and Dignity Act. Samuel skimmed the pages. Sections on food safety protocols, liability clauses, distribution logistics, and funding mechanisms. The restaurant owner from Lagos frowned. "This places excessive burden on businesses, inspections, record-keeping without clear tax incentives." Samuel leaned forward. "I propose a tiered incentive, tax credits for participating establishments, paired with community service recognition." An aide scribbled notes. Then the minister cleared his throat. "We can include that, but enforcement must be handled by local councils." Samuel nodded. "Local councils know their communities best, but they need training and resources." He tapped the paper. "Allocate a fraction of the national social welfare budget to elder care coordinators." After tense negotiation, the minister signaled agreement. A lawyer began redlining the draft. Cameras from civic tech blogs recorded every gesture. Temi whispered, "This is history in the making." When the session ended, Samuel was escorted through marble halls, greeted by curious officials asking about implementation. He answered patiently, yet his heart thudded. The bill still needed floor votes. Back home, Temi set up a live stream. "They've approved a final draft, now it's up to our representatives." Comments flooded in, "Call your MP. Send emails. Mobilize." Samuel watched, gratitude and apprehension mingling. He closed his eyes and whispered, "May this law stand firm, for every elder who deserves more than scraps." But as lightning cracked outside, he sensed the real trial lay ahead, turning legislation into real change and ensuring that respect endured beyond the vote. A week later, Samuel waited in his living room, TV tuned to the National Assembly's live feed. Temi perched beside him, phone in hand, tracking vote counts. Outside, Maria passed by, nodding in solidarity. Inside the chamber, MPs spoke passionately for and against the Senior Food Security and Dignity Act. Arguments ranged from fiscal responsibility to moral duty. At last the speaker called the roll. Each "aye" echoed like a heartbeat in Samuel's chest. "Nay." 1, 2. The tally reached the final counts. The speaker declared, "The ayes have it." The chamber erupted in applause. Samuel exhaled sharply, relief flooding him. Temi threw her arms around him. "You did it," she cried. He chuckled, voice thick, "We did it." That afternoon, a press conference was held outside the assembly. Samuel stood at the podium, flanked by the minister and council leaders. Flashbulbs popped. A reporter asked, "What message do you have for Nigerians today?" He smiled gently. "That respect is more powerful than shame, and justice louder than silence." Over the following days, implementation teams convened, training materials rolled out, and community centers across the country began receiving meals under the new act. Social media posts showed elders smiling at plated dinners, volunteers distributing food with pride. Yet Samuel knew vigilance was vital. Late one night, he drafted a Citizen Watch memorandum, guidelines for volunteers to report compliance or lapses anonymously. He messaged it to Temi, "Ensure this movement never sleeps." As dawn broke, Samuel returned to the little bistro where it all began. The hostess remembered him and offered a respectful nod. He accepted her invitation to inspect their new donation schedule. As he jotted notes, a young server placed a bowl of soup before him. He lifted his spoon and tasted it, savoring more than the flavor, a full circle of dignity realized. And as the camera panned away, Samuel's voiceover whispered, "From scraps to respect, our journey continues." The morning news on Temi's phone woke Samuel before sunrise. Overnight, a prominent international NGO had highlighted their effort as a model of dignified activism and sustained grassroots solidarity. He stared at the screensaver, a photo of elders beaming beneath a Respect Without Borders banner. Pride swelled in his chest, tempered by the weight of expectation. At breakfast, Temi placed a steaming cup of tea beside his satchel. "New challenge," she said, swiping through posts. Critics accused them of focusing only on city centers, leaving rural elders behind. Samuel nodded thoughtfully. "They're right. We must include everyone." He flipped to a blank page in his notebook, Village Outreach. By mid-morning they boarded a crowded bus for Oyo State. Fellow passengers offered seats, greeting them as the grandparents' heroes. On the dusty road, Temi recorded spontaneous interviews, farmhands, traders, mothers, each describing how their elders waited days for a single hot meal. Samuel listened, determined to widen the circle. In Chief Alyamide's village, elders had gathered under a broad mango tree. Samuel recounted their journey, from that humiliating bistro encounter to passing the Senior Rights Act. His voice faltered only once as Miriam, an 80-year-old teacher, stood on trembling legs. "How will this respect last once cameras leave?" she asked, eyes steady. A hush settled. Samuel inhaled the heavy air. "By entrusting leadership to you," he declared. "Tonight, we launch a coalition of elder ambassadors. Each region will oversee meal distribution, volunteer training, and local advocacy." He rolled out printed coalition packets, meeting guidelines, volunteer rosters, safety protocols, and date-marking calendars. NGO volunteers helped elders fill in details. Cameras clicked as hands shook, sealing the pledge. As dusk fell, they shared local delicacies: pepper soup, pounded yam, vegetable stew, served on chipped enamel plates. Elders laughed, swapping stories of youth and resilience. Temi filmed quietly, an elder showing a boy how to stir the soup, another joking about activist grandchildren. That night, in a modest guest room, Samuel drafted a sustainability pledge: community-driven, transparent. Temi proofread and posted an announcement: Nigeria's Elders Coalition launches. Within hours, messages poured in: volunteer sign-ups, regional inquiries, digital signatures. Before dawn, Samuel and Temi stood again under the mango tree, mist curling at their feet. He turned to her, voice low but resolute: "We've lit the flame. Now we must guard it against complacency and distraction." Temi tapped her phone, already buzzing with new registrants. A distant engine's rumble signaled their departure. As they boarded, Samuel's gaze lingered on the empty grove with unwavering resolve. Temi's phone chirped at dawn. Notifications flooded in from Ghana and Kenya, posts by elders in Accra and Nairobi celebrating Nigeria's Elders Coalition as inspiration. Samuel studied a map now dotted with pins across West and East Africa. Their humble movement was spreading like wildfire. By mid-morning, they convened a video call with Ama Ofori in Accra. Ama's lined face appeared beside baskets of wache and kelaweel. She described her community's hurdles: unreliable electricity, minimal refrigeration, and heat-related food safety risks. Samuel listened as Ama detailed solar-powered cooler prototypes crafted from reflectors and paint cans, her voice brimming with ingenuity. Next, Njeri Mwangi in Nairobi joined from a busy community hall, sacks of ugali and roasted maize piled behind her. She shared how youth groups partnered with women's cooperatives to cook and deliver meals to elders in remote villages, despite erratic internet. "We adapt what works," she said, "but we need better logistics." Samuel leaned into the screen. "We need a digital forum, a shared resource hub where ambassadors post challenges and solutions." Temi typed swiftly, rolling out a test portal. Volunteers uploaded soil sensing tips from Accra and rationing guides from Nairobi. A new repository of cross-continental innovation began to form. Yet glitches emerged: spotty connections, time zone confusions, and an unfortunate bot attack spammed the forum with unrelated donation requests. A volunteer tech team traced the breach and applied cybersecurity patches. Samuel reminded everyone, even noble causes need protection. That evening, Samuel filmed a short courtyard video stitched with clips from Ama and Njeri. "Our elders share more than age. They share resilience and wisdom," he said. "Together we can overcome any barrier." Temi scheduled the post and the coalition's reach grew further. Late at night, a private message blinked on Samuel's screen. The African Union invited him to present their model at an upcoming virtual summit on intergenerational equity. His heart thundered. A local plea from Lagos was about to influence continental policy. As he closed his eyes, excitement warred with doubt. Could a movement born of leftovers stand before heads of state? In darkness, he whispered, "Tomorrow we prepare for our greatest stage yet." The summit opened at dawn Lagos time. Samuel and Temi joined from a modest home studio, faces illuminated by ring lights. On the global broadcast, ambassadors from 15 African nations appeared in turn, each sharing their eldercare innovations. A translator scrolled subtitles in English, French, Arabic, and Portuguese. Samuel's heart pounded as his name was announced. He adjusted his traditional agbada and cleared his throat. "Greetings," he began, voice steady. "I am Samuel Adebayo, founder of Nigeria's Elders Coalition. Our journey began with a simple request for scraps: Now we stand united in preserving dignity for elders across Africa. He clicked to a slide showing smiling seniors receiving meals. Questions followed. How do you sustain funding? Can local governments support logistics? Samuel shared metrics. Thousands of meals delivered daily, hundreds of local ambassadors trained, cost savings from reduced waste. He proposed a Pan-African framework. Member states can adopt a standardized elder care code, facilitate training exchanges, and support community-led fundraising. As his presentation concluded, a digital applause icon flooded the chat. The AU commissioner praised his clarity and compassion. Temi exhaled relief. A moderator invited participants to breakout rooms to draft policy recommendations. Samuel joined Nigeria's group, where civil society leaders, government delegates, and NGO reps collaborated in real time. Voices flowed freely, each country contributing adaptations for local contexts. 2 hours later they reconvened. Draft resolutions included mandates for urban and rural meal distribution networks, elder rights education in schools, and incentives for businesses to donate surplus food. When the final communiqué flashed on screen, Samuel felt a surge of triumph, but also new responsibility. After the summit, a journalist asked, "What's next?" He smiled softly. Implementation on the ground. Summit words become action when communities lead. As Temi signed off, Samuel looked at the framed certificate of participation on his shelf, proof that their grassroots spark had ignited continental change. Yet that evening, as he reviewed summit minutes, he spotted a troubling footnote. One major nation had requested exemption clauses that could undermine standardized guidelines. His stomach tightened. The real work, he realized, was just beginning. The following morning, Samuel awoke to an email marked urgent. The Ministry of Elders Affairs and a key partner country sought to opt out of the Pan-African Elder Care Code's food safety guidelines, citing unique local conditions. If granted, it could create loopholes that seriously undermine continental standards. He paced his living room while Temi brewed tea. They want a waiver allowing non-inspected food transfers, she explained. It's a direct threat to our shared framework. Samuel inhaled deeply. We can't let that stand. It sets a precedent for others to follow. He drafted a polite but firm letter to the AU commissioner, outlining risks, potential outbreaks, loss of donor confidence, and fragmentation of the coalition's integrity. Temi proofread and sent it. Hours later, a video conference connected Samuel with continental ambassadors. The minister requesting exemption defended their position. Our rural areas lack inspection facilities. Samuel acknowledged the challenge. Then let's work together to build mobile inspection units, he proposed. We'll train local technicians, repurpose existing clinics, and secure microgrants. The minister hesitated. That requires funding we don't yet have. Samuel replied, we can pool resources from member states with stronger infrastructures. You offered to host the next training hub in Windhoek. The room fell silent. At last, the minister nodded. Let us draft a revised amendment, one that includes phased mobile units. Relief washed over Samuel. He smiled. That's the spirit of solidarity. After the call, Temi high-fived him. You turned a crisis into collaboration. Samuel allowed himself a rare grin, but new vigilance would be needed to see the amendment ratified. As dusk settled, he opened his notebook and wrote a new heading, Mobile Inspection Initiative. The next day he'd convene a working group. The path to respect was never simple, and no victory was final. In partnership with the Ministry of Elders Affairs from 3 collaborating nations, Samuel traveled to Windhoek to launch the first mobile inspection pilot. A refurbished van, painted in coalition colors, stood ready outside the National Community Center. Temi filmed as elders and volunteers gathered in a half-circle, sun glinting off the van's logo. Samuel addressed the crowd. Today, we take a step towards seamless, safe redistribution. This mobile unit will travel across borders, inspect surplus meals on site, and certify them for delivery to elders in need. He demonstrated the van's equipment, portable incubators, sanitation kits, and a rapid test station for basic bacterial screening. An elder chef, Musa from Tanzania, asked about maintenance. Samuel gestured to a group of local technicians. We've trained these guardians to operate and repair the van. This is your mobile tool, your responsibility. Cheers rose from the assembled crowd. Temi captured candid moments. Volunteers loading boxes of samosas and stew into the van, an engineer adjusting wires beneath the hood, Musa sampling a plate of inspected meal and offering a thumbs up. By afternoon, the van rolled out toward Achiwarongo, a farming town 2 hours away. Cameras in the back documented the journey, elders waving goodbye, children running alongside, and Temi narrating the significance of cross-border solidarity. As sunset painted the horizon, the pilot team set up an inspection station under acacia trees. A line of elders formed, each presenting parcels for safety checks. The rapid test indicator blinked green. Smiles and applause followed. Yet at twilight, Temi's phone buzzed with an alert. One of the rapid test kits had malfunctioned, showing false negatives. The lead technician frowned. Samuel's heart sank. This oversight could undermine trust. He squared his shoulders, voice calm but urgent. We adapt. Let's switch to alternative testing protocols tonight and recalibrate at first light. Under the glow of lanterns, volunteers gathered around. The coalition's credibility hinged on this moment. As they rolled up sleeves and shared expertise, Samuel realized that every solution carried new challenges, and every sunset heralded a new dawn of vigilance. The morning sun filtered through the corrugated roof of the community hall where Samuel and Temi had convened a group of eager youths and seasoned elders. Plastic chairs formed a semicircle around a wooden table piled with notepads and pens. Olivia, a university sociology student, tapped her pencil against the table's edge. "Grandpa, why mentorship?" she asked. Samuel adjusted his Calabari shirt and smiled. "Knowledge passes best when shared face to face," he said. "We fed bodies, now we feed minds." He gestured to 4 elders seated opposite the youth: Mrs. Akin, the center's coordinator, Mr. Duro, the retired tailor, Mama Nkechi, the seamstress, and Chief Alyamide. Each wore a coalition badge. Temi pressed record on her phone. "Welcome to the inaugural Elders Youth Mentorship Program," she announced. "Here wisdom meets innovation." Mrs. Akin rose, voice gentle yet firm. "I taught school for 40 years, she began. "Now I'll teach you about community organizing." She passed a notebook to Olivia. "Write down every rule, every expectation. Leadership isn't just authority, it's service." Chief Alyamide followed, recounting a fishing cooperative he once managed. "I learned that trusting your team means listening more than speaking," he said. A youth leader, Daniel, leaned forward. "How do we handle disagreements?" he asked. The chief chuckled. "Disagreement is the seed of progress. Learn to water it with respect." After introductions, Samuel split participants into pairs. Each youth shadowed an elder through daily routines: cooking, paperwork, market visits. Temi filmed as Daniel struggled to thread a needle under Mama Nkechi's supervision, and Olivia clumsily weighed rice sacks next to Mr. Duro. Laughter and gentle rebukes echoed. By midday they regrouped for lunch, a humble spread of jollof rice and stew donated by a local cafe. Samuel raised his spoon for silence. "This program's success is measured not by meals or meetings," he said. "It's measured by the bonds you forge." He turned to an elder-youth pair. "Tell us what you've learned." Daniel spoke first, bowing his head respectfully. "Mrs. Nkechi taught me patience. Tomorrow I'll show respect by slowing down my pace." Olivia added, "Mr. Duro reminded me that craftsmanship takes time and pride." As plates emptied, Temi navigated the group toward next steps: community projects co-designed by elders and youths, clean-up campaigns, tutoring circles, safety patrols. Samuel scribbled ideas on a flip chart: neighborhood storytelling day, elder tech workshops, health check Tuesdays. Before farewell, Mrs. Akin handed each youth a handmade cloth pouch. "Carry these," she instructed. "They hold more than pens, they hold remembrance of this day." Temi captured the moment as youths pressed pouches to their chests. Walking home, Samuel and Temi reflected on the day's success. "This could change generational divides," Temi mused. Samuel nodded. "If we nurture these bonds, respect becomes second nature." As he settled into bed, Samuel opened his notebook to add a new heading: Mentorship Outcomes. Tomorrow he'd review attendance records and feedback surveys, but tonight he rested knowing seeds had been sown. Yet in the back of his mind he wondered, would these seedlings survive life's storms? A week later, Temi ushered Samuel into a small office at the NGO's digital hub. Rows of computers hummed under fluorescent lights. On one screen, the Respect Without Borders forum glowed with threads from Ghana, Kenya, and now South Africa. Notifications flickered: new story shared, volunteer inquiry, safety protocol update. Samuel rubbed his temples. "It's overwhelming," he admitted. "So many voices." Temi grinned. "That's the point, collective wisdom." She clicked through posts: solar-powered coolers in Accra, community gardens in Nairobi, mobile kitchens in Johannesburg. But we need to streamline resources, she said. Together they drafted a quarterly newsletter. Highlights of pilot programs, success stories, urgent calls for supplies. Samuel composed the editor's note, a reflection on unity and adaptability. Temi formatted photos of elders teaching youths to code and youths teaching elders to use tablets. That afternoon, they hosted a virtual workshop on digital storytelling for elders. Samuel watched as Mr. Duro struggled to hold a smartphone, then beam with pride after sending his first voice note. Across Lagos, Accra, and Nairobi, elders practiced hashtags and filters. Laughter erupted when Chief Alyamide discovered a cat filter on his face. Meanwhile, back-end developers improved the forum's translation features. Samuel received a message from Almaz in Addis Ababa. She translated coalition resources into Amharic and sought clarity on distribution schedules. Samuel recorded a personalized explanation in his gentle baritone, which Temi uploaded as a voice clip. As dusk fell, Temi checked the forum's analytics. Active users had doubled, new volunteers surged, and donation pledges climbed. Yet a moderator alerted them to emerging dissatisfaction. Some rural ambassadors felt sidelined by the digital focus. Samuel frowned. No one left behind. He scheduled a video call with regional coordinators in remote villages. One coordinator, Fatima from Kano State, spoke over choppy connection. Internet here is rare. Elders prefer face-to-face. Samuel acknowledged her point. We'll send printed guides and dispatch mobile trainers. Temi noted follow-up actions. Before logging off, Samuel drafted a mission statement addendum. Digital tools amplify voices but must complement, not replace, personal connection. He posted it on the forum, pinned to the top. Walking home, he and Temi discussed next moves. Hybrid Elder Tech Days combining in-person and online sessions. Temi squeezed his hand. We're bridging two worlds. Samuel nodded, heart buoyed yet aware of the work ahead. Forging true inclusion across digital divides. As streetlights flickered, he whispered, tomorrow we take digital horizons further, without losing our roots. A month into the coalition's second year, Temi surprised Samuel with a shipment of handcrafted canes, knitted shawls and carved walking sticks, gifts from supporters across Africa. She unveiled them in the living room, each item labeled with donor names and messages of gratitude. Samuel ran his fingers over the smooth wood of a cedar cane carved in Cape Town. They're beautiful, he murmured, eyes misting. Temi filmed his reaction. These are for everyone, she said. We'll distribute at the next mentoring session. The following weekend, the mentorship group reconvened at the community hall. Elders and youths gathered for a celebration of sharing. Mrs. Akin held aloft a shawl from Ghana, its vibrant patterns dancing in the light. It reminds me of home, she said, draping it over her shoulders. Each recipient stood, accepted their gift, and spoke. Mama Nkechi thanked Alyamide for a carved stool from Kenya. It will remind me of solidarity, she said. A young apprentice in the audience whispered to Temi, I want to carve sticks like that someday. During the gift exchange, Temi organized a story circle. Elders recounted tales of their youth, bicycle rides to school, childhood games by the river, life lessons from parents. Youth scribbled in notepads, eyes wide. When Chief Alyamide spoke of negotiating land disputes, a sociology student gasped. This is history, she said, and it's right here. As the event closed, Samuel addressed the crowd. These gifts are tokens of respect and unity, proof that our movement transcends borders. He paused, gaze steady, but the greatest gift is our shared stories. At dusk, volunteers loaded remaining gifts into crates for distribution to rural satellite centers. Samuel and Temi joined them on a dusty van bound for Osun State. Inside, elders hummed gratitude songs, gift boxes secured by rope. Under a sky jeweled with stars, the convoy reached a village where a small schoolhouse served as distribution point. Elders lined up under lantern light, smiles bright as they received canes, shawls, and handwritten letters. One elderly man, tears streaming, pressed a letter to his chest. I am seen, he whispered. Back in Lagos, Samuel reviewed photos Temi had captured, each frame a testament to connection. He closed his notebook, pen in hand, and wrote, Gratitude fuels purpose. But beneath his calm, a new challenge simmered. How to sustain this outpouring without overburdening communities. As he drifted to sleep, he resolved to convene a sustainability council first thing in the morning, determined to ensure that gifts of the heart would continue to empower, not exhaust, those they served. Weeks after the gift distributions, Samuel received an urgent notice. The Ministry of Finance had earmarked funds for elder support, but was proposing to reallocate part of it to other social programs. A budget committee meeting was scheduled in 3 days, and without advocacy, the coalition risked losing crucial operating capital. He called an emergency session of the Sustainability Council, a diverse group of elders, youth ambassadors, NGO leads and community organizers, in the same hall where the mentorship program began. Chairs creaked as members settled in. Temi projected the ministry's budget proposal on a makeshift screen. Without this funding, Samuel began, voice grave, meal distributions slow, mobile inspections stall, training programs halt. A murmur rippled through the room. Pastor Adele, coalition treasurer, spoke up. We can't rely exclusively on government. Let's accelerate private partnerships and launch a social enterprise model, selling branded merchandise to fund core operations. Mr. Duro, the tailor, added, we could sell handcrafted items, shawls, canes, with workshops where proceeds support local centers. Youth ambassador Saad chimed in, I know an e-commerce platform that'll list our products for free. Temi created a live document capturing ideas, private sponsorships, merchandise sales, crowdfunding campaigns, corporate CSR pitches. The council debated fiercely. Some elders feared commercialization might cheapen dignity. Samuel moderated patiently, our values guide our choices. If we maintain transparency and purpose, commerce can be a tool, not a threat. By day's end, they drafted a multi-pronged plan, a crowdfunding launch in 2 weeks, a pitch deck for corporate partners, and a mentorship, merchandise fusion event where youths and elders co-create products. Samuel tasked teams with deadlines, reports by Monday. That night, Temi and Samuel reviewed the plan. She sipped tea, eyebrows raised. Ambitious timeline, she noted. He nodded, pressing a finger to his lips. Necessity breeds urgency. The next morning, Samuel stood before the National Assembly's Finance Committee, armed with coalition representatives and a stack of petition signatures. Over 500,000 names urging sustained funding. As lawmakers filtered in, he steadied his breath. Inside the marble hall, Minister of Finance leaned back, expression inscrutable. Samuel cleared his throat and began, esteemed members, the coalition's impact transcends meals. It restores dignity, fosters unity, and generates economic opportunities. He presented data on health cost savings and community engagement. Several lawmakers nodded. Others shifted in their seats. When he finished, a stern-faced committee chair addressed him. We recognize your achievements, Mr. Adebayo, but national budgets demand balance. How quickly can your private initiatives fill the funding gap? Samuel shared the council's plan, merchandise, partnerships, crowdfunding, while emphasizing the need for a bridge grant during the transition. Silence fell. After tense moments, the chair tapped his gavel. We will consider your proposal. Expect our decision by week's end. The committee session ended. Outside, Samuel exhaled, relief mingled with anxiety. The coalition's future hung in the balance, and in those final days, every petition, every product sale, every social media share would matter. As he walked toward Temi's waiting car, he whispered resolve, we will weather this storm and emerge stronger. 1 year after Samuel's video first ignited a movement, he returned to La Belle Bistro, the very place that spurned him. The marble floors and chandeliers gleamed under evening lights. This time, the hostess greeted him with a respectful nod and guided him to a side entrance marked Coalition Partner. Inside, a buffet table brimming with dishes flowed. Beneath a discreet sign, volunteers packed meal boxes for delivery. The manager approached, extending a hand. Mr. Adebayo, it's an honor. Your coalition's partnership transformed our surplus policy. Samuel smiled and shook the offered hand. He lifted a plated sample, a steaming bowl of okra soup. As he tasted it, memories of that first rejection flickered, and dissolved in gratitude. Cameras filmed the moment for a short documentary, from requested scraps to respected guest. Across the room, elders and youths mingled, handshakes, shared laughter, and proud photographs. Mrs. Akin introduced her former mentee, now a community organizer. Mr. Duro displayed a tailor's sample crafted from restaurant fabrics. Temi narrated live, this is what change looks like. When the evening concluded, Samuel stepped onto the sidewalk. A truck emblazoned with the coalition's logo rolled up, volunteers ready to distribute fresh meals across Lagos neighborhoods. He boarded alongside them, handing boxes to drivers. Let's go feed dignity. As the convoy departed under streetlights, a local news crew captured his departure. Samuel pressed his coalition badge to his chest and looked up at the night sky. In his satchel, the tattered notebook lay. its pages filled with father's poems and his own reflections. A voice beside him whispered, "You've done it, Grandpa." Temmie smiled, leaning close. He nodded, emotion softening his gaze. "We've done it." The truck's engine rumbled to life. As it rolled away, the camera pulled back to reveal Lagos's skyline, dotted with lights. A voiceover, Samuel's warm baritone, echoed. "From scraps to respect, our story shows that dignity isn't handed out, it's claimed and shared. May every elder know they are seen, heard, and honored." Fade to black. Liked it? Thumbs up, subscribe, and join the AfriHeart fam. Your support fuels our stories. Until next time.